my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
It has begun!
Calm down, Doctor. Now is not the time for fear.
Trying to misbehave.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything!
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Geek News Movie Night, where we take a movie of any kind and we dissect it, we analyze it, we tell you whether we liked it or not. I am your host, Adam Mickelson, aka Drak. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day or night when you're listening to this. And joining me is my lovely wife, Andrea, because this is yet another mini-series of the movies that we actually watched while on vacation, and we're giving our thoughts on it. And today is actually, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, the most recent movie that we saw of the whole trip, right?
The most recent?
Yeah, because I think the other one that we're going to talk about came out last year.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah, so at that point, we're going to be tackling, and I know that some people are going to be mad about this, but maybe at some point it'll get its own day in the spotlight. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, people... I mean, you followed a lot of the controversy that surrounded the first Sonic movie, right?
Yeah.
Where you saw the weird trailer that came out, and then eventually they fixed it. I use air quotes to say fixed it, and much like your brother Alex, you were excited at that point.
I was excited.
Okay.
It was kind of weird seeing the original design of how Sonic was going to look at first, but luckily they eventually fixed the design.
You say fixed. I think it's better, but that's me. So at that point, when you actually saw the movie, like, just really quick thoughts, what did you think of Sonic the Hedgehog 1?
I liked it, just,
Okay. Would you consider it to be like the greatest movie ever, or did it have issues?
I mean, it's good enough for, just a casual watcher, but, it's just, you're so used to seeing later generations of some Sonic games that you're interjecting humans into the story and stuff like that.
See, a lot of people don't realize this. You don't have a problem with the humans in the story, but you kind of share the same viewpoint as me, where, like, you kind of wish things would get back to the way they were, kind of thing.
Yes. I mean, I guess if it was me, I probably would say, wouldn't it be nice to actually see maybe a CGI version of, Sonic Sad AM sort of thing like that?
Yeah, like a CG version of Mobius kind of thing.
Kind of see it from that angle.
I agree.
That'd be like a nostalgic feeling.
So I followed the coverage of that film longer than you did, because I actually caught its debut, and obviously I've been doing this podcast for a while, and I want to say in the podcast's first year as it is now, or as it was at the time, was when at that E3, I think it was Sony. Yeah, Sony announced that they had partnered up with Sega to do a CG Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and people might be able to look back on my reaction to that. It wasn't good. I was very hesitant about it, because my evidence basically of that was, I remember, and maybe at some point this movie will be done as a Geek News Movie Night, the original Mario Brothers movie. Maybe we'll do it in honor of the new CG Mario movie that's coming out soon, but, like, after seeing that, and after seeing so many video game adaptations done horribly wrong, not done any justice to them, there's only, like, one or two that I will say are remotely good, and that's a stretch. I mean, they're, like, in terms of, they're good in terms of their adaptation, they're not perfect, and it's not like they're the greatest movie you've ever seen. So that was kind of my viewpoint of the original Sonic. When I eventually saw the trailer, I was confirmed in my viewpoint, and the fix didn't help as much as it did to say you and Alex. Because I still kind of looked at this and went, so you want to interject Sonic into regular everyday life. That doesn't seem right, because Sonic is a unique character in a unique universe. Why not just highlight that universe? So I was already skeptical at first. Now I was very wary about it. And when I did see it, it was okay. A lot of people think I straight up hate it. I did not hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought there was a lot wrong, and you're going to hear some of the same problems that I have with movie 1 are going to bleed into movie 2. But overall, I thought it was okay. Like, do I regret watching it? No, because I picked the right people to watch it with, kind of thing.
Just to have fun.
If I had gone to a theater alone, yeah, you bet your ass I would have regretted that. But there was a reason I said, like, I will see this movie, but I will see it on the comfort of my own, like, in the comfort of my own couch with my wife, where we can have fun, kind of thing. And the same thing applied to Sonic 2, which was very heavily hinted in Sonic 1. But we've already beaten around the bush here. Let's get into the plot of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So this is a brief synopsis that is being provided by IMDb. After settling in Green Hills, Sonic is ready for more freedom, and Tom and Maddie agree to leave him home while they go on vacation. It wasn't really a vacation, but okay. But no sooner are they gone than Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, comes back, this time with a new partner, Knuckles, played by Idris Elba, in search for an emerald that has the power to both build and destroy civilizations. Sonic teams up with his own sidekick, Tails, and together they embark on a journey to find the emerald before it falls into the wrong hands. And that's it. So, like, that's the plot of this film. They are in search of the Master Emerald, which, safe to say, they have rewritten a lot of Sonic's canon in order to make this work, right? Now, granted, the first movie rewrote a lot of Sonic's canon to be able to do it. So, a lot of that is kind of, to you, that would be acceptable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me, personally, I made fun of it because I liked the fact that, or I laughed at the fact that Sonic had been born and raised by the Guardians, the Owls of Goa'uld, or whatever it was called. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
What was it called? Legend of the Guardians? The Owls of
I can't remember.
Goa'uld or whatever. I'll look it up. But, like, I found it, and I've been making that joke in both movies. I'm just like, wait, Sonic was raised by owls, and then he was thrown onto planet Earth to try to protect him, except they didn't really tell us what the threat was in the first movie. Now we're being told what the threat was in movie 2, which was the Echidnas, because the Echidnas are once again the bad guys.
They're like the enemies of the...
Yes. Rise of the Guardians. I think that...
I don't know, but...
The problem is, there is 2 movies that came out in the same year that had the Guardians in their name, and so I'm confusing it, because the other one, which is the... the better of the 2 movies, the Guardians that are based on, like, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny.
Isn't that Rise of the Guardians?
That might be Rise of the Guardians. So Rise of the Guardians actually is a good film, and at some point I do actually want to give it a Geek News Movie Night run. But I think it was Legend of the Guardians. Let me see if I can.
Maybe just look on
the Owls of Goa'uld. That's what it was. That's what it was called. Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Goa'uld. So that's what that all looked like, and I laugh at that. And already that was kind of dumb. And I have no problem saying that one of the things that was a huge drawback to me in the first movie, which we will get into in this one, is Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I'm sorry, Dr. Eggman. Dr. Robotnik is a serious character. Dr. Eggman is comedic bullshit. And that's what this was. But let's actually dissect this properly. So the changes that have been made to Sonic's origin in order to fit these movies, how do you feel about that? Like, does that work for you, or would you have rather seen, like you were saying, Sat AM, Mobius, and like being able to see the Freedom Fighters versus Dr. Robotnik or whatever?
Well, yeah, but he didn't have too many. He could have had many different multiple origins, really. You know, I mean,
I think the canon origin at this point is like he's just a dude that goes around the world and has fun and is always looking for a vacation and then ends up into a weird situation.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say they changed the origins. They just decided to.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Little Hedgehog ends up with the Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. Yeah, they changed that.
Well, yeah, that doesn't mean he had it like a. It's not like connected to the Sat AM origins.
I doubt that.
Are you even sure? I mean, what do you call?
There were no owls on Mobius. I'm just saying.
But what would you say about the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
What about it?
Did they use the origins from that one?
For the movie?
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They already said it wasn't.
Yeah, so you can't really.
So what I'm saying, but what I am saying is like, would you, compared to what you got in the movie, would you have preferred to have that Mobius storyline?
But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go the Sat AM route more, then you wouldn't have all the other stuff to begin with.
I think it would have made a lot more sense than just having Sonic running around the world and, oh yeah, he ends up in deep shit, you know?
Yeah.
Which is somehow like how a lot of the modern Sonic games have done it, where he's just a fixture in regular everyday reality, right? Yeah, that I can suspend my disbelief in the Sega game. I can't really do that in a movie context. So, okay, so the origin doesn't really necessarily bother you. What about Dr. Robotnik as a character in this? Would you have preferred to have the comedic Dr. Eggman, which he actually kind of ends up being, which he's not like the Sat AM Robotnik, he's the, what was that one called? Is that one no, that's not the adventure, that one's Sonic the Hedgehog. That's straight up Sonic the Hedgehog, the afternoon one.
Are you talking about
the comedic one where he had
well, his name in the
Scratch and Grounder?
Yeah, the one in that one, he's called Dr. Ivo Robotnik.
Yes,
and,
well, that's the full name.
Yeah, and in the Sat AM, he's called Julius Robotnik or something like that.
Yeah, no, they changed it. I think it was like to Julius Ivo Robotnik.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted him to sound like noble because they'd actually kind of figured out origins for him.
True.
And basically made him, like, if you go deep into the Sat AM lore, he was like an advisor to the king before he took over. So at that point, like, they basically made him like a Palpatine in a weird way. But in this case, like, how this movie basically imagined him, he's this weird, closeted genius who has come up with amazing technology that the U.S. somehow has never procured from him. And he just so happens to be able to have his own autonomy, his own authority with whatever he gets invested in.
I mean,
because he was literally able to order people around, like people in the military around, in the first movie.
That's true. I mean, I guess if you would say, maybe that's like a good way to kind of introduce him as Robotnik, like, how he ends up becoming like that. And then now you're kind of like, okay, now he is becoming, more of like...
See, I won't even give it that credit.
Well, I'm not...
80% of this Robotnik character, and nobody will tell me otherwise, is Jim Carrey trying to reclaim his glory days back from the 90s, because he's trying so hard to create those moments like from The Mask, from Ace Ventura, from The Grinch, all of that all together. And it's painfully obvious that Jim is only doing this because Robotnik, which I'm pretty convinced all he ever saw was like the comedic Eggman stuff that exists throughout media. So he saw that and went, holy shit, I can go back to my roots. I can go back to my 90s movie roots and be that Jim Carrey again, the one that got me so much money.
I mean, I guess that's true and all, but you wonder, how many people have actually did see the Dr. Robotnik from the Sad AM, to be honest.
Nobody, like you and I are rarities.
Well, yeah, like how many?
Everybody knows the current day Eggman.
Yeah, so I guess that makes sense in that perspective to see, how many people know that version as opposed to the people who have grown up with the Sad AM Robotnik and be like, oh, well,
or even just with the games and like the early games, he wasn't considered a bumbler. He was just basically Bowser, where he just kept trying, kind of thing. And like nobody looks down on Bowser or considers him I mean, yeah, there are points where he's had comedic moments, but he's still considered a big bad in the Mario universe, and that's basically Robotnik's start, where he was the Sega Bowser, where he just kept trying to enslave little woodland creatures to become his robots, and that concept kept going through. But in recent years, they've kind of dropped the whole mad scientist gimmick in favor of him being like his Sonic Boom derivative, where he's just another fixture in the world of Sonic. And yeah, he's not necessarily the villain, he's just the antagonist. So he's always out for his own agenda.
Yeah, I don't know the Sonic Boom version.
It's a much more comedic take on.
Then I guess I'm gonna have to look into that.
Whereas they try to, and the reason I say that is because in years later, like ever since Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure 2 was like the last time where Robotnik actually looked like a maniacal kind of villain, and then Sonic 06 happened, and that wrecked that reputation, because even though they tried to paint him off as evil, he still came off as just another problem in a bugged as shit game. And so they instead went back into the kooky origin with things like Sonic Lost World and eventually Sonic Boom, where he was much more of he still kind of had his villainous moments, but he was very much a comic relief kind of villain. And instead, they would put somebody else in that villain role, like, say, Iblis in Sonic 06, or I can't remember the character's name in Sonic Forces, which is like this diabolical, I'm going to destroy the world, evil hedgehog-looking thing, kind of thing. Or in the case of like Shadow the Hedgehog would have been considered a bigger villain than Robotnik, which doesn't make any sense because Wario's never been that in the Mario universe.
Yeah.
So at that point, like what I'm trying to get to here is you still like the Jim Carrey Robotnik.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were probably a few things I was like, okay, that kind of seems a little out of character, but I'm just going to roll with it, really. But
see, I will give some compliments here. I actually like the fact that they tried to, because in my opinion, they emulated Sad AM when they did this, where they gave him an assistant who was supposed to be basically his Snurdly. Is that what his name was? Due to the big nose.
I know who you're talking. I think it's Snively or
Snively. Snively was his name. So they tried to give him a Snively in this and had them play off of each other, and those two had great chemistry. Mm-hmm. And that chemistry did come back in this movie, but now we have completely... So that was supposed to be reserved Robotnik. Now we have unhinged Robotnik. Mm-hmm. Because now he's into the universal lore, and he has been studying the quill he got from Sonic so long ago and has been able to refine his technology from that. Which, I already have a lot of questions, but okay. Then we have the introduction of Knuckles. Your thoughts on bringing Knuckles into this?
I loved Knuckles, really, but, you know, it just...
I'm sorry, I meant Drax the Destroyer.
I still loved him, though.
I'm sorry, Knuckles the Destroyer. Drax the Echidna.
Is it just because of how he interprets the world?
No, because he's literally ripped from Drax the Destroyer from Guardians of the Galaxy. He takes everything stupid levels of literal.
That's true. But you wonder if since he comes from a tribe, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, a tribe where he was very heavily sheltered in. Like, the whole plot was like he was sheltered from all of the wars and stuff because he was going to be the savior of the Echidna race. Wow, way to inflate a kid's ego. And you see, like, throughout this movie, just how much of a problem that creates. Because, yes, he tries to act honorably, but in a lot of cases, he also still acts like, well, I'm the one that's destined to save the entire universe.
Well, that's true.
And the only way, and really quick, Idris Elba playing Knuckles. How do you feel about his performance?
I don't know him very well, just to...
Idris Elba?
Yeah.
He's Heimdall from the Thor movies.
I mean, I guess he was okay. I mean, I didn't have an issue with him. You
didn't have a problem with the way he voiced Knuckles.
No,
I would tend to agree on that. I think he did the best with what he could, but when you look at how the character of Knuckles is written, he's basically, well, yeah, he's basically Drax the Destroyer. So at that point, he takes everything way too literally. Nothing will flow over my head. I will look upwards and be able to see it. Like, that's how he's being played off, and Idris did his best with what he had there.
I mean, I try to just kind of go back and think, okay, out of any of the Knuckles scenes that we ever seen, you know, Knuckles actually having a voice, you know, it's been a while since...
Well, most of the time it's Dan... crap, I can't remember his name. The guy who plays Yugi. It's actually him that... I think Dan Harmon is his name. He's the one that's been playing Knuckles for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice if you had the same person who kind of played that, but, you know, I guess you can't.
Dan Green. That was his name. So he's the one who's played Knuckles recently. I don't think he's the one that played him in any of the Sonic Adventure games.
Yeah,
but he did play him in Sonic X, which mimicked Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, good enough, right? So, okay, so you don't really have a problem with this. What did you think about the whole... So we learned that the killers of the Owls of Ga'Hoole turned out to be the Echidnas. So, the Echidnas in Sonic lore have already done some dumbass things, including creating chaos. But in this case, they basically said that they went to war with the Owls in order to gain their birthright, which was the Master Emerald, which would give them phenomenal cosmic powers, kind of thing.
I was still trying to digest all that. Really.
Okay, explain digest. Like what didn't make sense to you, or what was hard to digest?
Well, I was still trying to think it over, really. I was like, okay, so they are basically fighting over a Master Emerald. Why? Okay.
Yeah, I know. He's been the guardian of the Master Emerald for so long. But I guess they rewrote it that he instead wants it because it is his birthright. He is the last Echidna. The Emerald is meant for him, kind of thing. And so he teams up with Robotnik to go and get it. Turns out, because this is how plot works, people, all of the pieces of the Master Emerald, or the Master Emerald itself, is on Earth. And the Owls of Ga'Hoole have created a system of riddles in order for Sonic to be able to go find it and protect it. So now he's the guardian of the Master Emerald, right? Well, he didn't know this because you sent him back as a little kid and didn't explain it. So he's been busy living with his new human family.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against any of the human actors in this movie. You did your best with what you had, but man, what you were given was shite. So in this case, the main plot that kind of happens with Sonic's adult counterparts, because they're not really teamed up in this movie, they instead are going on vacation, but really it's that they're going to go attend the Shaniqua sisters. And I literally mean Shaniqua. She is like, oh yeah, baby, you know, like she's that one that didn't like Sonic and didn't like the husband, and she is apparently getting married. Whoever would want to marry that is insane, but that's just me. And
especially when she's marrying somebody who was actually playing as an undercover.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there because I have some thoughts on that too. But yeah, so they're off doing this wedding and Sonic is off living his life, right?
Yeah.
Until his party is thrown off with the introduction of Miles Tails Prower. So they decided to bring Tails in, and believe it or not, they actually decided to go into the voiceover well for this one and actually gave the actress who plays Tails in most of the Sonic games right now, they let her play him, and the name is escaping me, but it's the original female voice actress who played Tails all the way back, I think, since Sonic Adventure 2.
That's exciting.
So this is the only... This kind of makes me feel bad for some of the other Sonic cast members, like Dan Green. Is like, she's the only one that got brought back. Wow, you didn't want to bring back like people like Dan Green or I can't remember the current Sonic, but I mean his voice was just fine, and it was a voiceover role. I believe they recast him for this, but I'll double check it. Let me actually really quick. So check the cast. Stop it. Okay, there we go. And Ben Schwartz. Yeah, Ben Schwartz is the new Sonic. So they weren't able to bring in, I think his name is Eric something. Like the guy who's been playing Sonic in all the Sonic games for quite a while now. And in fact, because of the movies, I think he's lost the role. Ben Schwartz is now Sonic, as far as anybody is concerned. So what did you think of the introduction of Tails? And the fact that they basically had nothing to go with aside from basically he's Helga from Hey Arnold. He's had this weird obsession with Sonic, even though Sonic doesn't know he exists.
That was kind of, I mean, it's kind of cute, but kind of strange at the same time.
I think that was a bad idea.
Just because he's like, oh my god. Didn't he have the impression that he's like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, he's Sonic. He's just so great. But you don't, there's nothing to establish that Sonic was great as a kid. And so at that point, it's just like, okay, what are you going off of? I actually think it might have been a good idea to, because they still kind of keep to Tails' current traits of being a really great mechanic, a really great inventor, and basically either give him like an overconfidence kind of deal because he is such a great mechanic, or to basically make him an introvert where he doesn't know how to socialize with anybody, and then he sees Sonic do it and he gains that hero worship from it.
Yeah, so did he think Sonic was a legend, or was he?
Yes, Sonic was a legend, according to him.
So
I don't know what for, I don't know what Sonic did, but okay.
Unless it happened in the first movie and we just didn't know it.
Well, how would he would have known that?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, he was from a different planet or universe or something like that.
Yeah, he wouldn't have known. Oh, Colin O'Shaughnessy is her name. Yeah, Colin O'Shaughnessy is her name. So, I mean, and I have nothing against her performance. It was good. It was good given what they did. I just think the writing was was stupid in this regard. You gave him a hero worship complex, but he hadn't ever seen Sonic do anything heroic until that point. This would have been the movie to have him do something heroic and then gain the hero worship kind of thing. And instead
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it would have made more sense if he knew that Sonic actually was like, if he thought, Sonic really does exist and he wanted to go seek him out versus... like,
if they wanted to say, like, the Owls were basically saying that Sonic was the savior of the universe or whatever, and that, he was going to be doing great things, then maybe you could get some hero worship from that, but it's really vague, and basically what should happen after that point is that he should have seen so many of the selfish actions that Sonic does throughout the movie and said, "You're not that guy." And then let Sonic grow into being that guy, kind of thing. Because that's the trait of Sonic, right? He's got an arrogance complex. So at that point, like, let him have his arrogance moments, because we all know that when it gets down to the wire, Sonic will deliver, kind of thing. And so at that point, show that through the eyes of Tails. But no, he's a legend. So yeah, ultimately... this starts up this quest because Robotnik is back in the picture, where they now have to go fight to get the Master Emerald, while the human couple, or Sonic's owners, for lack of a better, Sonic's parents,
Sonic's adoptive family,
whatever, they're off doing Shaniqua's wedding, and on top of that, like, the world is at stake. Okay, so. A couple of things that I actually want to go over really quick. One of the parts I did find endearing about this film was the fact that Snively, who did not go with Robotnik to the weird mushroom planet, Snively was still at home, and he started up a little coffee shop, because remember, like, one of the favorite things he did for Robotnik was he made unique coffee.
Latte.
Yeah, he made unique lattes that he liked. And so he kind of resumed that life, and then as soon as Robotnik came home, I actually like that reunion where he's just like, "Oh, sir, I've been waiting for you to come back," presses a button, and everything turns into an evil laboratory. That was actually really good. That was actually really funny. So I'll give credit there. That was actually a good moment. But let's get into this, because you already do. Like, they're off going and doing their quest. They have shenanigans happen in between, one of which involves, what was it, a Russian...
it was like they stumble upon some... like,
Russian hotel, or what... or not hotel, but like a Russian cabin, where they have to earn the right to be respected.
I thought it was like some kind of a bar.
Yeah, it was a bar / tavern.
Something
kind
like
of
that.
like an inn. And so they have to earn the right to be respected by the Russians. But all the while, we deal with the wedding, and it turns out that it was all a setup. And as Andrea has pointed out, the man who wanted to marry Shaniqua didn't actually want to marry Shaniqua. He just wanted to capture Shaniqua and Sonic's would-be parents, because they are agents of Gun.
Oh yeah, didn't they? Weren't they like introduced in like one of the Sonic games?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Sonic Adventure 2. No, it actually could have been Sonic 06. They even went the extra mile, and much like with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU, actually filled out the acronym for it. And I can't remember what it was. Let me see if I can actually get it. Let's see, Gun acronym. Because I can't remember what it actually was. But yeah, thoughts on that really quick, Andrea. What did you think of the Guardian Units of Nations? Fuck my life, that was bad. So what did you think of the reveal of Gun? I will say, if they actually had Leslie Nielsen as the commanding officer, I probably would have bought it better. Personally. I am serious. And don't
I
call
know.
me Shirley.
And what was their main purpose?
To capture the hedgehog, I believe.
Oh yeah, I forgot because
remember they meet up, and either Sonic or Tails gets captured.
Well,
I think it was Sonic that got captured, and this was like right at the climax where they're actually going to get the emerald. So at that point, they need to get away so that Sonic can go get it before Robotnik does.
Yeah, but I think both of them get caught because wasn't Sonic like...
It could have been both of them.
Because Sonic was like... They needed to help Tails because he was pretty much unconscious.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they needed to capture Sonic because Sonic was a threat to... Sonic was Superman in Batman v Superman. He was the god among us. He was the one that could destroy us all.
Oh, and you do love that part that, you know, when they were trying to escape that snowy mountain and stuff, and he's like, you need to get the ring, and it's like, oh wait, it's the wrong ring, and the bride and the groom were gonna exchange their...
Yes.
It's like...
And it turns out that, I can't remember how that happens. No, because Shaniqua doesn't. How did that end up?
Well, because he pretty much... stops the wedding, and he's like, I need to borrow your ring, and you know, because he ends up having the wrong ring. And
no, what happens is Sonic gives what's his bucket? James Marsden's character.
Yeah,
he gives him the ring so they can go to the wedding, right? Mm-hmm. And then James Marsden's an idiot, as we learned in the previous movie, where he accidentally swaps the rings. And so the ring that is going to be given to Shaniqua is the ring that teleports, kind of thing.
Yeah, the ring that opens the portal. But it doesn't actually
teleport them. They just find out that, like, when they actually get the ring, because I think the ring was with the gun agent. And so that's why Shaniqua has to go hunt him down. Mm-hmm. And so they get it back so that they can teleport off to the island that the emerald's on. Mm-hmm. And then all shit hits the fan. So... this is basically the climax of the film where they go to the island, they secure the Master Emerald, Robotnik is actually able to get it from Knuckles. Oh yeah, by the way, and they did the whole Sonic 3 swerve where Knuckles thinks that Robotnik has good intentions, but oh wait, guess what? He's evil!
Oh, yes.
And so Knuckles gets screwed and ultimately becomes a good guy because of this. In other words, Knuckles is an idiot in this movie, and there's plenty of times where he is.
Well, at least it kind of...
Except, unlike Drax and Guardians, he's not endearing about it.
That's true. I mean, after all, at least they kind of kept that, you know, the whole Knuckles siding with Robotnik.
So basically what happens is, I don't remember, did you see the second Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie?
Actually, I think maybe I did.
Okay.
It's been a while.
So you might remember this, like where the beginning of the movie has like a really slow build-up, but then like the after the climax, it is just a reference-gasm of everything Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
Because they're building the Technodrome, and Krang is there, and he has a robot, and we are referencing everything under the sun that's Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah,
Same thing happens here. Robotnik builds the Death Egg robot. He's gonna go destroy the town. Sonic and Tails have to stop him. Oh wait, they got the emerald, but it broke. And then we have the Chaos Emeralds. And then we get Super Saiyan Sonic! I'm saying, Super Sonic!
How is it that easy for the Master Emerald to break? Really?
Because plot! That's why!
Why couldn't it just, like, you know...
That's my... like... And what's funny is, like, Alex isn't joining us for this review, but I actually think Alex was getting really annoyed with me at this point when we were watching it. Because I'm, like, literally going, oh, look, yet another Sonic reference. Oh, look, yeah. And I'm not saying that, but I'm like, because I can see what they're doing. They're doing, like, this reference-gasm to be able to make it work for everybody. Kind of thing, which means that they're not really putting a whole lot of thought into how the story is going to work. They are instead just throwing together an action scene and hoping it sticks with the audience. And so I think I actually annoyed the hell out of Alex when I was just like,
okay.
You were giggling every time I did it because you kind of saw that coming, but he was just like, oh, come on. You know, like typical Alex.
Oh, yeah, but...
But it's just like, Of course, we have the Master Emerald. Of course it has to break. Of course we have to have Supersonic. How on earth did Shueisha not sue the fuck out of Sony for doing that, by the way? Sonic is imitating Dragon Ball, Andrea, when he does that. It's a Dragon Ball trope. He is becoming Super Saiyan. So how did Shueisha not look at that and basically say, call our lawyer. We sue the shit out of these people. Because that's basically what happened in that last 10 minutes of the film. Is we had to have Supersonic show up because everybody loves Supersonic, right?
Yeah.
Except Supersonic didn't show up in the first movie. Oh wait, we didn't have the Chaos Emeralds to do it. What I'm saying here is, and this is why it, much like in the second Ninja Turtles movie, yeah, it's great to watch it when it's happening right off the bat, but then when you go back and you look at it in your head, you're like, did they really earn the Master Emerald breaking into the Chaos Emeralds? Did they really earn because I believe the way they did it was the emeralds absorbed into Sonic, and then he became Supersonic. Did they really earn that? Did they really earn the concept of him becoming godlike and destroying the robot because, well, something had to destroy the robot, right? Like, do they really... That's my problem, is that eventually you go back and question and go, did you really earn that? And ultimately the answer is no, because you didn't build up to any of that.
True, but could you imagine if they would have brought Supersonic in the first film instead?
They should have brought Supersonic in the third film. Come on, they were building a trilogy out of this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what's to spoil in the next one, which I won't say right now, but who knows?
Well, we don't even know Sonic 3's happening, so.
We don't know.
No, it's uncertain, because Jim Carrey, after this film, retired. He has said if they do Sonic 3, he'll come back. But the last thing I'd heard about Sonic 3 as a movie is it was uncertain on to whether or not it was going to happen. But that's what I'm saying, is like they basically did it because they had no choice. Oh, my bad. Apparently it has a release date. December 20th, 2024 is when Sonic 3's. So that's what I'm saying. Wait. Oh, yeah, that's right, because they teased it.
They teased what?
They teased it. Yeah, because they teased Shadow.
Yeah, and so you never know if you may get a kind of like a similar thing. How they
I stick to my guns. Have the Chaos Emeralds turn them into Supersonic and Hyper Shadow in the next movie.
Yeah, that's what I said. That would be a great one.
But why did you have to do it in the second movie? Why did you honestly, like, from a storytelling perspective, why did they have to do it? Because nothing else was going to destroy that giant robot.
That's true. But you could have used Sonic. You could have used Supersonic in Sonic 2.
Why? It wouldn't have been a good payoff. Especially since a lot of people, like a lot of kids that know Sonic these days, know Sonic through Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. So at that point, they've had access to Supersonic, but they've also had access to what they might call Super Shadow, but it's really like Hyper Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, why not just wait until Shadow and then have that?
I don't know.
Because here's how I answer this question for you, Andrea. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, way back in the days of Dragon Ball, remember, since Dragon Ball was made in Japan, the U.S. had to wait to be able to see this glorious Super Saiyan, right? So one of the things they did was they created a side movie called Lord Slug, which was basically taking the best arc from the original Dragon Ball, the King Piccolo arc, and nuking it down, like nuking 50 plus chapters down into one movie. And the way that they advertised this film, because they knew nobody would really go for it, is they decided to have Super Saiyan show up before it happened canonically.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, I can't remember, I think it was like Super Saiyan Anger is what they called it. Where it was basically like, out of nowhere, Goku finds this insane amount of strength that nobody understands where it came from. That way they don't have to explain it, right? And then eventually when he turns Super Saiyan, it's not affected. It's not affected because he didn't know what that was. It was werewolf transformation, right? That's how you do it here. Is all of a sudden the emeralds break and for some reason some power infuses itself into Sonic. And then out of nowhere he just turns into that big spinny ball and cuts the robot to pieces. He does not turn into Super Sonic. And in fact, what the US calls it is fake Super Saiyan. He does not turn into Super Sonic, but you see that the emeralds have a power that can enhance people. Which then you can build in a movie 3. Am I wrong? I just fixed your problem. How can you have Super Sonic but not have Super Sonic in movie 2? Because you have fake Super Sonic. Kind of thing. So, you're the one that's being quiet. Did I solve it for you?
Well, that's the best way I guess you can explain it.
Yeah, exactly. So then at that point, you don't have to have Super Saiyan and you could have saved it for movie 3. Which is going to be a lot more meaningful to the younger audience that you're catering to. Because they know Supersonic and Hyper Shadow. So then at that point, the 7 emeralds unite in both of them, and you get what you want! But instead, what you basically wanted to do was you weren't sure if Sonic 3 was a sure thing, so you decided to blow your load, which is basically what the writers did. You blew your load because you didn't know if you were going to get another shot. So you blew your load, then you give the Easter egg, oh, but we're going to give you Shadow. And now, hopefully, everybody sticks onto it, right? That's my problem, ultimately, is like a lot of that is just how many times can we make the audience geekgasm their hearts out? And it falls short.
Well, unless you have like any of the, the special features, you won't never know.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how a lot of times DVDs come out with some special features about...
Yeah, and?
They may answer those questions. You never know.
I doubt it, because I'll guarantee you that scene, that action scene, was the first thing written, and they never went back to it. Because and I'm guaranteeing you, it wasn't even the writers that wrote it. It was a bunch of corporate people saying this needs to happen. And the director probably, what is his name? Jeff Fowler. He looked at this and went, oh yeah, we got to do this. Oh, but wait, you have the Sonic 3 that you could easily... No. We got to do it now. No, you don't. And I just solved it for you. In fact, I'll do you one better. I don't even like how the emeralds broke. So at that point, have them give the power, he wrecks the robot, and that breaks the emerald. And now it's the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and they seem to have lost their power. Oh no, what'll we do when the next big bad comes? Oh wait, it's Shadow the Hedgehog! Complete with bad game and guns and all!
He'll come and claim all the Chaos Emeralds and forge it to...
and become the ultimate life form that he was never meant to be! Yeah. So, there you go. So, what did this film do right?
You're going to have to be more specific than that.
I'm being as specific as I can. What did you like about this movie?
That it just brings back nostalgia for me.
So, it's a ginormous nostalgia boner, as it was intended.
Yep.
Okay. So, like, I'm being broad so you can be specific. What did you like about the movie? What scenes did you like? What characters did you like that were being developed? Etc.
I just like the dynamic between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Okay. And that's established pretty later on in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I will actually say, okay, when you take all the villainous stuff that Knuckles did in this movie, and you take that out of the equation, and you end up with how they ended, which is like the trio, like hanging out and having shenanigans, I have no problem with that. Because at that point, it actually makes sense. It probably doesn't make sense to have Idris Elba, who probably got paid a lot of money, to have him voicing Knuckles in that regard. Because Ben Schwartz was pretty low end, and so was Colleen O'Shaughnessy. You might want to bring back Dan Green in movie 3, is what I'm saying. Because that dynamic worked.
I mean, I really liked it how they took kind of like the same story direction like how they did with Sonic 3, where you're having Knuckles.
Yeah, they did this because now they're rewriting the Sonic trilogy so that Shadow is the third. But okay.
Well, yeah, but you're having Robotnik trying to use Knuckles to get the Chaos Emerald, and they end up being and they you know, be on one side where you're having Sonic and Tails being, you know, going up against who they really shouldn't have been going up against, and then eventually they end up, you know, like...
Okay. So you like the dynamic that happened afterwards, is what you're saying?
Well,
with the trio, like at the baseball field, arguing about how to properly play.
Not just that, but I mean, you know, they decide, you know, instead of fighting amongst each other, now they need to work together to stop Robotnik from taking over.
Okay. So, in particular, like, are there any scenes that we maybe haven't talked about that you wanna highlight? There's a lot that happened there, and actually, just being honest, like, we're recording this 2 months after we saw it.
Yeah.
So we're like, a lot of that stuff is kind of fuzzy, but
I still love some of the scenes where Sonic's like, oh, why does everything have to be surrounded by water? Because you know how we can't swim.
I still think they should have made a joke from it, but because they didn't do it in the first movie, I don't think either. Where all of a sudden, like, he's trying to get up to the surface of the water, and you're kind of getting the subtle. I still think you should have made a joke.
I can't remember if there was a scene with him in a pool.
I can't remember enough of the first movie. That's why I'm saying a movie night might need to be done of Sonic 1 just to remind us. But
him being stuck on that island, he's like, crap, I gotta cross the ocean just like.
Yeah. Okay. I will say a lot of the comedic scenes were actually pretty good in the film. Specifically, like I said, like one of my favorite scenes from this is the coffee shop where Robotnik comes to see Snively. Snively's like, "Oh, sir, I'm ready to go." Click, and then everything turns into a mad scientist laboratory. That was great. And even inside the giant robot, the giant Death Egg robot was actually pretty cool. So
yeah, but I don't think I really liked how, you know, he was manipulating the robot. Like, maybe I guess I was just more used to the thought of, you know, it'd be just like the Megazord and Power Rangers, where you're actually sitting at a cockpit and controlling.
Oh, and I'm trying to remember how he did it.
Wasn't it more like he was like manipulating it by like some power or something of the Chaos Emerald? Or not,
yeah, because they basically made him have phenomenal cosmic powers.
Like he was having like this
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. That probably would have been better in terms of Robotnik, but the problem is that Jim Carrey couldn't be Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, if he was like sitting at a cockpit, just like how, you know.
Yeah. I will say, we didn't talk enough about the Russian inn. That scene was kind of endearing. It actually did try to butt a friendship between Sonic and Tails. It's just like, man, it would have been great if you had not done what you did with Tails in this film. If you'd actually, like, had him gain the hero worship throughout this film instead of just having it, it would have been better, in my opinion, because they actually had moments where Sonic and Tails were legit being friends. And it just kind of loses its luster when the owls told him how great Sonic was. So, okay. So, like, any other scenes that we want to point out?
Let's see. No, I think that's about it I can think of.
What did this movie do wrong? Gun! Gun! And you didn't... Well, I mean, I don't... Is Leslie Nielsen dead? I can't remember. I don't think he is. But, like, I'm going to stick to this Gunn till the day I die. Leslie Nielsen should have been the head of Gunn in that, and instead they got somebody else. And that was a missed opportunity, because, like, that would have been the epitome of dumbass general who was running Gunn. No, he did pass away. He passed away in 2010. Rest in peace, Leslie, because you would have made Gunn so much better. Yeah, Gunn was such a dumb idea. Such stupidity. I have a feeling Gunn will come back in Sonic 2, because they kind of have to, because they have to do
Sonic 3, you mean?
Or Sonic 3, because once Shadow hits the scene and starts messing around, yeah, Gunn's got to come back to put Sonic under heel, kind of thing. And, oh god, the fact that you had to empower Shaniqua, and Shaniqua was honestly one of the worst things of the first Sonic movie. The only reason she was there was because somebody had to hate on James Marsden's character, and it just so happened that she had a daughter, so at that point, we could get to see Sonic interacting with the featured demographic of this movie, with kids! In fact, I think from that little girl is where he got his shoes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point, oh god, you took the worst aspect of the first movie and you made her a pivotal plot point, and you just Ghostbuster 2016 this whole segment. I was bored through Gunn, and I shouldn't be bored in a Sonic movie.
Oh, did you like the whole scene with the, what was it, like the partner that works with the main guy, the one that was like going in and interrogating the Snively character in the bar area?
Well, I remember they showcased the coffee shop. Oh, are you talking about the sheriff guy who was taking over? Well, that was just stupid. I easily discarded it.
That was just weird. I was
it was just more stupidity from the first movie that didn't need to be there. And trust me, guys, when we actually get around to that movie night, I'm going to have a lot to say about Shaniqua. I don't care what her actual name is. She's a fucking Shaniqua. That's the whole purpose of her being there. That's why she's there.
Oh, yeah. And her and
she's there to be the Leslie Jones of Ghostbusters 2016. Absolutely meaningless in a movie that's absolutely meaningless.
They were like sisters, right? Shaniqua and they were trying to use some of Tails' devices to go and help break.
Which is why I have a problem with it. Why empower this woman? She is nothing more than nails on a chalkboard to me in this film.
Oh my goodness.
It's not racism. It's just bad characters. But you have to have a world where everybody's there. No, fuck that. We can have a movie full of good characters. We don't need to have Shaniqua, all right? We can easily make this work without Shaniqua.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
I can easily find 5 other solutions just in my head right now that you could have introduced Gunn better. And not have to introduce Shaniqua at all. But I'm sure some people will paint that as me being horribly racist or whatever. Anything else that the movie did wrong? I'm sticking to my guns. Jim Carrey was trying way too hard to recapture his 90s glory, and it was painfully obvious. In fact, there were a lot of times where while he was in his God mode in the robot, I had no problem saying this to myself. You know, I remember the good old days where the Riddler was blowing up the Batcave, and that was actually endearing. Compared to this, anyway. So I'm sticking to my guns. Jim Carrey was trying way too hard. But he's the lovable aspect of this. No, F that. He was annoying. The only time that I could tolerate Robotnik was when he was interacting with Snively. Except we still did the whole thing that we did in the first movie, which is where he betrays Snively again. I swear to God, and unfortunately, in the third movie, I can guarantee you, Snivelly's going to come crawling back to Eggman. Because that's not who... This guy isn't Robotnik. This is Eggman. Snivelly's going to come crawling back, and he's going to take the abuse yet again. So, I'm sticking to my guns. Idris is 50-50 for me. If they had not done the whole, I am the last of the Echidnas, and I am entitled to the rights of the Master Emerald and phenomenal cosmic powers, then it probably would have been a lot better. I actually would have probably respected it a little bit more if instead, because I believe the way that they did it in Sonic 3 was Robotnik framed it as, oh, that means Sonic, he's picking on me! And that's why Knuckles stepped in to mess with Sonic. So if you had done something similar to that, I would have been okay with it. But the story that they did with Knuckles in this was like, it's 50-50. Once you get past that and he becomes a good guy, then it's an endearing trait.
Yeah, but wasn't the reason in the movie he said that Sonic was seeking out the Master Emerald for power or something like that, and he was
No, he assumed that that's what Sonic was doing. And then Sonic eventually realized, because the way I remember this is he meets Knuckles first, then realizes what Knuckles is after, and that's when Tails steps in to save Sonic and basically say, oh yeah, that's what he's looking for, and Sonic's like, oh, we gotta stop him.
Well, no, Knuckles meets Sonic.
Yeah, he met him first.
Yeah, but Robotnik was the one who introduced Knuckles.
Yes.
Because he asked...
No, what I'm saying is, Sonic did not know about the Master Emerald.
Well, yeah, but...
He was told that by Knuckles. And then Knuckles went off about how, I'm the last of the Echidnas, and I must be the one to earn its phenomenal cosmic powers. And then Tails steps in and says, yeah, we gotta stop him.
Yeah, but he ends up asking Knuckles to get him out of the mushroom realm.
Robotnik.
Yeah,
Robotnik gets asked that.
Yeah,
because this is the point where they said that Knuckles is an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Because Knuckles is too trusting.
Mm-hmm.
But they already established that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the encounter. So by the time we have the encounter with Sonic, I'm not saying you're wrong. The Mushroom Planet happened first.
Oh, yeah.
But then you had the encounter with Sonic.
Yeah.
So Sonic didn't know what his goal was.
True.
Until Tails told him.
True.
And explained that, since you were one of the former Owls of Ga'Hoole honorarily, you have to go fix it. Kind of thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's the sequence of events is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
We proved that Knuckles is way too trusting and naive, and that's how Robotnik manipulates him. And then we show off his weird entitlement complex to Sonic. Kind of thing. So you're not wrong. Mm-hmm. You're not wrong in that regard. But yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, the first half of the movie, Knuckles is the dumbest piece of crap that exists. But then once you get past that, because here's the thing, Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy is an endearing character. But remember, the first half of that movie, where he was so obsessed with going after Thanos, it actually cost them. Because he literally did the whole, come to me, Thanos! And then Thanos destroyed the area and got no, it wasn't Thanos that he called. He called Ronan. Ronan the Destroyer. Ronan the... Crap. What was his name? Ronan the Executioner. He called the Executioner, went, come at me, bro! And then the Executioner got the Infinity Stone from that. So ultimately, all of that was Drax's fault, and then eventually Drax endears himself after that, because he's still the idiot that we've come to see, but now he's the lovable idiot, because he's part of this comedic duo that's now a trio with
Quinn,
with
Quill,
Groot and Rocket.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. So you already have that. That's what happened here. Do you want to know why I'm making so many Drax the Destroyers comparisons to Knuckles? Because he is the same fucking character!
Mm-hmm.
some corporate a-hole just basically said, oh, we want this in there. Oh, well, Neckel's story kind of works that way. Make it work that way. So, no, the Drax comparisons aren't stopping. Okay, so I think we've gone over negatives here. Mm-hmm. So, here's another thing that I want to do really quick, because we did this for our episodes and all that. What would you consider to be the best scene of the movie? Coffee shop.
Of course you would like the coffee shop.
Coffee shop, evil is back in business. I'm on board with that. That was a very endearing scene to have happen. Like, all is forgiven, press the button, we're back to evil. You know? I'm okay with that. So, best scene for you.
I still love the whole robot and the Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are trying to find every way possible to try and take it down.
Okay, so the climax of the film. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was the worst scene in the movie? Shaniqua and Gun.
Yeah, that was the most weird.
Dumb. Contrived. Did not need to happen.
It just was an awkward.
There are other ways that you could have introduced Gun. Mm-hmm. Without reintroducing Shaniqua. Okay, so we have the best and the worst scene, but now we did this for Wonder Woman. We're going to do it here. So when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Andrea, and it's award season, and everybody is discussing, like, okay, like, this movie should get an award. This movie should get an award. Let's actually go through this with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, do you think that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 should be getting, like, a Best Picture Oscar for its presentation?
Probably not.
No. Absolutely not. I know some people are like, well, you're biased. You didn't like it. We're not even to that final verdict yet. But no. So at that point, Best Director, should Jeff Fowler get Best Director for Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
Probably no.
Okay. So at that point, this is going to be difficult to be able to do because some of these actors and actresses are voiced. So I would argue that if you're going to do a Best Actor, there's kind of two ways to do it. If you went the voice route, it should be Ben Schwartz as Sonic, because he's the leading man in this. He is Sonic the Hedgehog. Should he get a nomination or an award for his performance?
Yeah, I would.
You'd give him, so let's clarify that. Would you nominate him and then also give him an award? Or would you just nominate him?
Well, then make up your mind if you...
Okay, so would he get a nomination?
Yeah, he would get a nomination.
Would he win it?
Probably not yet.
Okay, there you go. This is a distinction that we're going to be doing from here on in too. Is like, should they get nominated? Because the nomination is an honor in and of itself. But then should they win it? Kind of thing. To give that clarification.
I mean, unless if you say, would you rather have had him be the voice of Sonic, or would have had the original person who played Sonic?
I'd rather have the original guy. I think the original voice is better.
Yeah.
Personally. But, this is just their marketing. But just to clarify it really quick. So, would you want Sonic the Hedgehog 2 nominated for Best Picture?
I thought we did.
Oh, did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, but would it win?
Probably not.
No, okay. So the same thing for the director. Should he get a Best Director nomination for Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
Probably just a nomination, but...
Okay. So, for me, no on Best Picture, not even a nomination, and not even a Best Director nomination for Jeff Fowler. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but this is definitely not like a magnum opus kind of level work. As far as Ben Schwartz being Best Actor or being given a nomination for Best Actor, no. And no, he probably wouldn't have won it anyway. So, normally, Best Supporting Actor would go to somebody like James Marsden, who is supposed to be the runner-up. But I would actually argue that if this was award season, he doesn't have enough screen time to do that. So instead, I think the way that they would go with this is Best Supporting Actor would go to Jim Carrey for Dr. Robotnik. So, Andrea, should he get a nomination?
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Fuck no! You can give him a Razzie. I don't care.
Okay.
Should he win?
Probably not.
Okay, all right. So that retirement's probably going to change very quickly. Let's just be honest there. There really isn't a best actress in this because all of the actresses are side characters. So at that point, best supporting actress, people are not going to like me doing this because I can't even justify, what was her name? Tika Sumpter, who played the wife, Maddie. I can't justify her getting it. My justification would be Colleen O'Shaughnessy for Tails.
Tails, yeah.
So should she get the nomination? Even though technically it's an actor because Tails is a boy.
Well, is it a girl who's playing?
It's a weird clarification with the Oscars that they never really figured out.
Oh.
Because here's the thing: a lot of little boy characters are voiced by women.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unheard of.
I know. I believe
kind of
that.
thing. So at that point, so sometimes they've done that, sometimes they haven't. Let's just say they bend the rules here. And Colleen O'Shaughnessy is the one that they would pick for Best Supporting Actress. Should she get nominated for her performance of Tails?
I say yes.
Should she win?
I say yes.
I think she should be nominated, but she probably wouldn't win. And the only reason I think she wouldn't win is because I know a little bit more about the Oscars than you do, and it is a political game.
Yeah.
So I could guarantee you that poor little Colleen O'Shaughnessy going up against somebody like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
That's a calf being led to slaughter.
Yeah.
So at that, but I do think that the nomination would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, because the nomination alone can get you roles. So at that point, I'd have no problem giving her the nomination. I think she's done just as great as she's done with Tails over the years. I think it was a great idea to not recast Tails and bring in Colleen O'Shaughnessy to play her. I just kind of wish that a little bit more love...
Oh, to play him?
Or to play him, yes, sorry. But I kind of wish more love had been placed to the other Sonic cast, instead of bringing in somebody as expensive as Idris Elba to play Knuckles. I'm pretty sure Dan Green could have done that, kind of thing. So that being said, those are pretty much the ones that we can do for it. There you go. Andrea, out of 5, what would you give Sonic the Hedgehog 2 2022?
I'll give it a 3.
Okay, 3 out of 5. And your reasoning why it's not a perfect 5.
I mean, I liked a lot of the story when it involved mostly Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles and, all that stuff.
Okay.
As for the human side perspective,
And just to give a comparison here, what would you have given Sonic 1?
Sonic 1?
So you're giving Sonic 2 a 3. What would you have given the first movie? Because this does play into it, like whether or not the sequel can do better or worse than the first movie.
I probably would give it a 3 as well.
A 3 as well? Okay, so not really a whole lot changed.
No, I mean...
Okay.
I guess maybe I would give 3.5 more to Sonic 2, actually, just because...
Oh, 3.5 to Sonic 2.
To Sonic 2, and 3 for Sonic 1.
Okay, all right. So basically saying it's a slight improvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it mostly focused on the characters that I know when I grew up with, knowing. Okay. As for like all the human side, it's like, it's just mostly just entertainment filler stuff. It's like, but it's not really that important to me.
Okay. So to give a comparison here, Sonic 1 for me would have gotten a 2.5 because it actually did do a lot of things right. It just was okay. It wasn't it's not a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's just okay. I would go in the opposite direction as you. I would give it a 2. Sonic 2 is okay and doesn't really fix the problems that I had from the first movie. In particular, Shaniqua shows back up, but the daughter doesn't even show back up, I don't think. And then on top of that, you brought in Gunn, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense, and Jim Carrey is still overdoing it to the max. Yeah, so I would actually go a little bit further. It's slightly worse because because ultimately, where I thought Sonic 1 was trying too hard, I think Sonic 2 was trying even harder, and sometimes if you're trying too hard, then maybe you ought to go back to the drawing board and see, like, how can we make this a much more relaxed thing and make it more naturally flow? And that didn't happen here to me. So it's a 2 out of 5 as far as I'm concerned. So it's an okay film. For all the people say he hated it, no, it's okay. It's okay. Now, would I say that there's a better video game adaptation out of there? Oh, hell yeah. But it's okay. And I'm still sticking to my guns that if CG Mario is better than this, I am laughing my butt off. But I guess we'll find out because we won't see a trailer for that until next year. So I think that'll go ahead and do it for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Andrea. Any final thoughts that you want to give?
Yeah,
Oh, and actually, I want to do this really quick. So, would you pay to have a physical copy of it?
Maybe, but I don't need it right away, so...
Okay, all right. That's kind of my viewpoint, too. I don't need to go rush out to Target to get it the day it releases.
No.
I can easily wait, kind of thing. So, any final thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
I still enjoyed it just because I grew up with Sonic, you know.
Sonic fans will not be disappointed. You'll get, more particularly, retro Sonic fans will not be disappointed. Current Sonic fans, maybe, just because they're used to characters like Shadow, Blaze, Rouge the Bat, all that, and this doesn't have those.
Amy and all of them.
Yeah, they're not in this yet. They're still kind of sticking to the Genesis trilogy in terms of continuity. I have a feeling we'll get a bunch more characters in Sonic 3 because you're already introducing Sonic, or you're introducing Shadow, so it wouldn't surprise me if you want to introduce Amy or anything like that.
But I'm pretty sure there are
I will say this, though. If Amy ends up being human, fuck that movie straight to hell!
Maybe they'll go the direction of Sonic 06, and then you'd be like,
No! 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 No bestiality in my movie, thank you.
But like I said, I'm pretty sure the most diehard Sonic fans out there would wish that they can do a CG Sonic SATAM interpretation or something like that.
Well, I believe, the guy's name is escaping me, but he did a Mega Man movie where he basically like tried to tell the origin of Mega Man 1 in Eric LeBron, that was his name. He tried to do like a old school, like definite, like an indie film interpretation of Mega Man kind of thing, where basically every Robot Master was wearing like motocross gear. It was really dumb. It looked like they literally walked off the set of Power Rangers Ninja Storm. All right. And he actually was going to do a Sonic movie. And originally he had gotten, what's his bucket? Steve Urkel to come back and be Sonic. What is his name? Oh, that's going to bother me now. The original Sonic voice. He brought him back and he was originally going to do something based on Mobius.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't.
Sonic voice actor. Oh, this is gonna Jaleel White. Jaleel White was the original Sonic. So he was gonna bring back Jaleel White, and he was gonna do a Mobius kind of thing, but I guess he never got the funding. So unfortunately, that never got off the ground. But that's going to go ahead and do it for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Do I think that you should go out and try this out if you're a Sonic fan? Sure. just know what you're walking into. It's a cash grab, and that's pretty much what it's intended to be. If you're expecting complex plot like from the Sad AM series or whatever, you're not getting that. And frankly, I don't know if Princess Sally will ever show up on screen because the furries will come out in droves for that. But that'll go ahead and do it for us. Thank you guys so much for continuing to join us on these unique discussions with these films. Unfortunately, we have one more film that we can do a review of, and you guys will see that very soon. And I hope you guys look forward to it. But thank you for your continued support. Continue to show that by going to geekynro.libsyn.com and showing your support by linking up and subscribing to the RSS feed. Or you can do that on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, and Player.fm to show your support there. All the YouTube listeners, you guys will get this a week later. Sorry, I'm not changing that. I actually am willing enough to, so as people have seen with Wonder Woman 84, I am now allowing for Geek News Movie Night to show up on YouTube, but it will come out a week later. So at that point, if you want that exclusive run to see what we thought before everybody else did, that's where you go, geekynro.libsyn.com. You could also follow me on, or you could also follow the Geek News Podcast on Facebook, because we just barely did a Facebook page for the RSS feed. So you can see what is on that RSS feed at any given moment on Facebook. You guys can look it up. It's called GNRO RSS feed. So, or GNRO Podcast RSS feed. And then also you guys can follow me on Twitter at GeekyNRO and be able to get my opinions on pretty much anything. And when we come back for the next movie night, our last movie, which Andrea was very intent on seeing in our vacation, our next movie night will be Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. So you guys can look forward to that very soon. Until then, have a good day or night. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.